Good morning.
Morning.
Good
Yay,
morning.
my friend is
Hello.
on.
Hi, Mel. Good to see you. And I get to see your beautiful face today.
Good
Hi,
morning.
Oli. Welcome.
I'm gonna look, I'll briefly share my video, but it's frightening, so I'm probably gonna,
Oh, you look like a rock star.
well, this is my look. I have my ice pack and my shades all day long.
For the light, because the light
Oh
affects
Just
my,
the migraines.
yeah,
oh
Oh,
my goodness.
don't have
terrible.
to sit in my closet then. This is my look.
Oh, I used to suffer when I was in high school. It was stress related. I'm sure you've done every test under the sun and you're trying to figure out the source, or do you know what's causing your triggers are?
Yes, no, it's the answer has been it can be all of the above, right? They're like, well, it could be perimenopause. It definitely is stress. I like that feels true to me.
Yeah.
I can't
Have you
seem
ever looked at your minerals and not just what's circulating, but what's inside your cells?
no, I haven't. I've done the regular blood work. And,
Yeah.
um, and beyond that, I had, no, I did do like a mold test. We did do that. That was something extra.
Okay.
Other than that, though, no. But I went to a nutritionist kind of before all this got bad last year. And
Okay.
it was a lot of supplements that didn't seem to do anything. So
Yeah. Well, I'm on a mission to help you. I think we'll get there. Um,
I'm excited to hear about this.
yeah, Mel shared a little bit with me, but we'll get this officially started. And
Sure.
however you feel comfortable sharing and piping in and asking questions throughout this call, this is the purpose of us meeting so that we can get answers for ourselves. And that's what we're all about. So my name, since we haven't officially met, my name is Trish Mangold, and I am a holistic health practitioner. I started my company because I see people falling through the cracks, and I myself had to be more proactive with my care and take my well-being in my own hands. Medical doctors are great, especially when it comes to acute stuff. And when we have chronic conditions like migraines, we can sometimes fall through the cracks. I was just listening to a podcast with Dr. Mark Hyman yesterday, and specifically, he was talking, if you don't know who he is, he's a functional medical doctor, and she was a physician. I can't remember her specialty, but I think she was like in radiology. She was a MD herself and went to all the top doctors, the Mayo Clinic, and no one was giving her answers. Actually, they put her on different types of like individual magnesium and this and that, but it wasn't getting into her cells. And what we're talking about here is we're looking at three questionnaires that's looking at beyond what's your blood work can tell you about what's going on inside your body. And, a lot of it is, yes, we might have certain nutrients and minerals circulating in our blood, but it doesn't mean it's getting into our cells where it's needed to create balance in the body. Um, and most of the time, it's a mineral deficiency. And it's amazing because a lot of the times we look at these individual minerals, but in nature, minerals in our body, it doesn't exist in a silo. It's not an individual supplement that's going to save the day. What we're looking at is the cofactors. There's a lot of things that come in, like when we eat our food, just think about it. You're not just eating, a fruit and vegetable because it has, it might be rich in potassium, but you're not just getting potassium, you're getting these cofactors in the body. And these cofactors are essential because they're called cofactors for a reason. It's like you need the kitchen sink, the chicken soup, the whole thing to come in and get into your cells. So we'll get into this today, and this is part two of a three-part series. We've been looking at the neurotoxic questionnaire, and I hope you have access, everyone has access by now to all of these questionnaires. Just to do a little recap to catch everyone up, we did the neurotoxic questionnaire. These, these are just basically to help you give yourself a baseline and to understand, shine some light on where we can give our body extra support, and um, and celebrate what we're doing right, right? Where we're feeling strong. So it helps us be more nuanced and with our care and what we're doing with our body. I made a few notes and I just wanted to make sure that I cover everything. There's a lot I wanted to cover today because metabolic flexibility is a big thing. A lot of chronic conditions are related to metabolic dysfunction. And we've talked about the basics of metabolism yesterday, is that sugar burner system and your fat burner system. There's two sources that fuel our bodies. This is glucose. Basically, everything that you passes your lips is converted into glucose by the body in the bloodstream. We talked about insulin, what the role of insulin is. It's basically like it brings that glucose into the cell. And when we're functioning well, we're having a good relationship with our blood glucose. It might be reflected in our A1C on that blood lab. That's a very helpful thing you might not always get unless you ask for it. But the A1C is an inexpensive blood serum test that can reveal what your average blood sugar has been over the last 3 months in your body. And you want your number under 5, and this means you're metabolically healthy. Over 5 can be you're heading towards pre-diabetes and insulin resistance. So when we have insulin resistance, the cells aren't hearing the knock on the door from the insulin to bring the sugar, the glucose into the body, into the cell for function, for fuel source. And so that's when we can feel we're eating all the time, but we're getting energy crashes. We might feel jittery. We might have brain fog. And then we start pumping out more insulin, and it just causes a lot of inflammation and chaos in the body. So we want to be able to, and the solution, fasting is a really great solution to this problem. Fasting is something that helps you deplete your stored blood sugar in the blood and also helps the body start to repair itself. So there's not a pill or a supplement out there that's going to repair the body as fast as the body's innate intelligence. And so the wisdom that we need to tap into is how to ignite that healing and wisdom of the body. And this is why these 3 questionnaires can be really helpful to help us build our own personal roadmap into things that we can do that are using food as medicine and using a fast cycle as medicine. And this is the fast cycle, the different types of fasting, especially as women. We need to take that into consideration because we have a symphony of hormones that need to be paid attention to. We shouldn't be doing the same fast all the time. We certainly shouldn't go longer than 13 hours, 10 days before our cycle starts, before our menses. And but there's times in our 30-day period where we can lean into these longer fasts to help create insulin sensitivity and to get into ketones. So that's the other half of our metabolism. And of course, I'm getting a knock at the door right now. I'm gonna have to go get that. I apologize. I'll be right back.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Just busy,
Yeah,
but like I love her tips. I love like,
I love them.
yeah, it's great. And anything to like feel better and address any issues, I'm like all about.
All in. And yeah, I learned a lot yesterday that I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't wait to try the oil pulling for the castor oil mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Well,
Okay,
I'm
good.
glad you guys are chatting amongst yourselves.
Okay.
I apologize. Okay, so we're talking about 6 different types of fast. Many of us have heard about, I don't want to interrupt the conversation you guys were talking about yesterday.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so we're talking about 6 different types of fast. And what I'm going to do here is share my screen. I'm going to do fasting benefits timeline. Oh God, of course, when you're trying to find something. I was on the phone with my bank all morning and I didn't get to pull this up. So basically, there's 6 different types of fast. Most of us know that we have a intermittent fasting, where a lot of us have heard about that. Anyone haven't heard about that? Hasn't heard about that? Okay. So intermittent fasting is, I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see this beautiful timeline. Share screen. Okay. Can you see my screen? Okay, I got thumbs up. Okay. So I'm certified, I'm a holistic health practitioner, but I'm also certified in two very important mentors that two doctors that I've gravitated to that really help you ignite your innate wisdom and intelligence in the body. One is Dr. Zach Bush. I did his certification. It's called The Journey of Intrinsic Health. And these are things that I weave into my coaching practice with my clients because I truly believe that our bodies are innate. We can, there's not a pill or a supplement out there that can really heal the body as quickly as our own body can. And when we remove the interferences, this is what fasting is all about. It's removing the interferences. And then when we bring food back into the equation, we're bringing healing foods. And fasting is always an opportunity to learn something about your body. And there's no such thing as a failed fast. And so it's always a gift to learn where your body needs extra support and to celebrate how far you get. The beauty of this, I also got certified in the art and science of fasting like a girl with Dr. Mindy Pelz. She is a powerhouse that's changing how women navigate from fertility through perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. This is something you are going to, when you understand the concept and the foundations that these two beautiful minds and the schools of thought and how they work with the body instead of against it, and understanding these foundational concepts, you get a master's in your own health. There's no one size fits all, and it's all about understanding what your body needs at any given moment and through all hormonal stages of life. Does that sound like fun? I mean, honestly, to me, I love it. Okay, so intermittent fasting, 13 to 15 hours. This is where you're depleting that glucose in the blood, you're improving insulin resistance, and it's anywhere from 13 to 15 hours after your last meal. Now, a lot of people might think, oh, I haven't eaten for, amount of time, but they forget that the drinks can pull you out of a fast as well. So you have to be mindful, like herbal teas are pretty good without a sweetener. And water with lemon, water with the minerals. I'm a big fan of bean minerals. If you talk to me, I'll probably talk to you about minerals at some point if we haven't already. I love bean minerals. We've kind of talked about you need the cofactors. These are plant-based with the full spectrum minerals, and it also has naturally occurring acids and humic and fulvic acid that help gently detox the body. So I'll leave before I want to focus on getting through this fasting benefits timeline. So go ahead and take a screenshot of this with your phone or your computer so you can reference this. 13 to 15 hours, human growth hormone. These are things that are happening naturally in the body. And you'll notice like stem cells are on here and these are things that people spend a lot of money for. And these are called when you add stuff from outside the body, it's called exogenous. And then when it's created within your body, it's called endogenous. And when you have endogenous reactions in your biology, your body's innate intelligence knows better than any external thing. And while people are getting amazing results with external stem cells and PRP therapy, again, that's great. And if you have the money to spend on that, great. But you also can get better results when you use your own body's innate wisdom. Okay, so 13 hours, human growth hormone increases, and you get reduced inflammation. And we all know chronic low-grade inflammation is kind of a root cause of a lot of disease and dysfunction in the body. You start to get into fat burning. Your body goes after fat stores to use as a fuel source. You get increased ketones. Your liver makes ketones. That's the other fuel source of your metabolism. So you start burning up that sugar that's circulating in your bloodstream, and your body uses stored energy in your fat and your ketones get produced in the liver. Now, ketones, we've heard of ketogenic diet. That's a way of kind of helping the body to produce ketones. And it's harder when you're in a fast, in an eating, like when you're eating to try to get into ketosis, because it's tricky to follow certain diets and there's sneaky things in there, especially if you're eating out and you don't have 100% control of what's on your plate. Why not go into these longer fasts? And a lot of who's done a 17-hour fast before? Show of hands. Okay. And anyone gone longer than 24 hours? Okay. 36 hours? Wow, cool. And maybe a 72 3-day fast? Anyone? Okay. All right. So I'm glad a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, at 17 hours or 24 hours, that sounds really challenging. And I will say probably 24 hours can be the most challenging typically, because here's what's happening. Well, I'm sorry, let's just go to 17 hours. I'll follow the timeline. Autophagy fasting. Does anyone know what autophagy means? Or anyone never heard of it or kind of have an idea? Okay, so autophagy literally means self-eating. It sounds weird, but this is where the body starts recycling old cells that aren't really doing well, that might be infected with a virus or a bacteria, or maybe they're precancerous cells. So it's an amazing fast to throw into your weekly, I will say weekly, little routine to boost cellular detoxification, cell repair, improve immune function, and it's cancer prevention. So 17 hours is a beautiful fast, and as a woman, we could do it any day up from during our period through to day 20. Okay? Um, so 17 hours is fantastic. Now we're moving towards our gut reset fast. This is a 24-hour fast. And when I say fast, minerals, water with minerals, herbal teas, and it's the hardest one in my opinion, and in my experience, most people find the first 24 hours is a mental game, right? Because you're thinking, a lot of the times you think you're hungry, but you're not. It's just a habit of eating. You open the fridge 20 times, but you're like, I'm not really hungry. It's just one of those things your mind plays with you, and you're like, wow, I haven't eaten in 24 hours. But what's happening is your gut microbiome starts to reset. That's why it's called the gut reset fast. Another thing is that intestinal stem cells start to repair. Your intestinal, from your mouth to the other end, is only one cell layer thick. So this is like a width of a hair on your head. And you've got one cell layer thick that's your barrier between the outside world and your inside world. Besides your lungs and what's touching your skin, right? This is a big barrier between the outside world and the inside world. And so we really want our gut integrity to be healthy. A lot of us, anyone heard of leaky gut or gut dysbiosis? These things, leaky gut means your cells, that's just that thin barrier of your mouth to the other end from the outside world, is leaky gut means your cells have probably shriveled up and now there's gaps between your cells. And in those gaps, you can opportunistic pathogens and viruses and bacteria can get through those gaps into your bloodstream and cause chronic low-grade inflammation and wreak havoc on your immune response, because your immune system's going crazy, like all this stuff's coming through undigested food and stuff that's like, oh my gosh, we've got a problem here, and it's chronically happening. So it's really, there's some simple solutions to fix that. And a 24-hour gut reset is one of your best friends to lean into. GABA production, this is that happy, feel-good neurotransmitter in the brain. You've got brain healing and autoimmune healing. So autoimmune conditions are affecting 70% of women. I'll say that again. 70% of the autoimmune diagnoses go to women. So a lot of us have autoimmune markers that we don't even know about. And, autoimmune can also be a blanket term for a lot of things. When doctors don't know what to give a diagnosis to or a name to, they say autoimmune. So an autoimmune, if you've been labeled with an autoimmune condition, it's not a life sentence. It doesn't have to be a life sentence, but it is a label that people use. And I like to say sometimes we can get stuck in the diagnosis trap, a label trap that puts us into a box that kind of puts limitations on what we believe is possible for us. So once we start learning how to work with the body, I will say I can't cure, treat, or diagnose anything, but officially what can happen is you can put things to sleep. You can put things into remission when you start working with your body and understanding how to support it and activate your own Thrive state. And fasting is activating your own Thrive state. So now we're at the 36-hour mark. So usually at 24 hours, so most, for example, say you stopped eating at dinner at 6 p.m. on a Monday night, you come around to Tuesday night, 6 p.m., and now you're in your 24-hour fast. You've hit that, celebrate it, and now you're like, I'm going to eat. Well, you're like, I'm hungry. I might have a slight headache, which means you need some more minerals. You're starting to circulate some toxins in the body, so it could be kind of making you feel funky. But also your candida is shifting, your microbiome is shifting, and as candida is dying off, you'll notice it's craving. It wants to be fed because it's dying, right? And it wants to be fed, and it craves carbs, and it craves alcohol, and it craves sugar. So if you have a sweet tooth, a 24-hour fast is one of the quickest ways to kick a sugar addiction if that's something that you're working towards. Or if you have, food sensitivities, these are signs that you've got some imbalances in the gut microbiome, and you might not have an allergy per se. You might just be sensitive. So we need to work on optimizing that gut microbiome. Okay, so at 36 hours, typically, this is where you're going to get into more ketosis. And the brain thrives in ketones. Most people are like, oh my gosh, I just need to go to bed early, or and tomorrow morning I'm going to eat. I can't wait to have my first meal. I've done my 24-hour fast, but while you're sleeping, don't forget you're getting points. You're racking up your fasting timeline, and you wake up around 36 hours. And all of a sudden, you're like, gosh, I feel pretty good. I'm not as hungry as I was last night. um, I can probably push this out a little bit longer. So 36 hours is called the fat burner fast because your liver's producing ketones. You've you've pulled out the fat storage in your muscles and the sugar in your muscles, and you're starting to burn fat. So this is one of my favorite fasts because everyone's like, I'm eating clean, I'm exercising, but I've still got that 5 to 10 pounds of stubborn fat that just won't budge. And I said this before, but I'll say it again. When I look at fat distribution on the body, I have a new appreciation because what I know is that when our body is overloaded with toxins, our body's innate wisdom will store toxins, excess hormones, and fat in fat storage units. So I'm like, okay, well, thank you, body, because it keeps it away from constantly circulating in the bloodstream and constantly circulating in the liver. And the body's like, I'm just going to put it in these fat storage units and deal with it at another day when I can better deal with just basic survival. So when we take the toxic load off of our liver and when we do these gut resets, our body's like, ooh, I can function better. Now I'm going to start pulling stuff out of those storage units. And that's the excess hormones, the toxins from our environment, and the fat. So that's why at 36 hours you start pulling and you start using ketones. The liver starts producing ketones to fuel your brain. Your brain thrives on ketones. Your mental clarity, if you're thinking brain fog, if that's something that's nagging at you, lean into a 36-hour fast. Actually, 48 hours is great for that. But so this 36-hour fast, reduced glucose stores, reduced insulin stores, increased fat burning, detoxification, and it's anti-aging. And this is where your metabolic switch comes in, where you're starting to really get into ketosis. A dopamine reset. These are your happy, feel-good hormones, that gut-brain axis. Serotonin and dopamine are produced in the gut microbiome. And so if you're feeling kind of blue, a little bit of sadness or depression, or you're just not feeling the joy and seeing the gratitude in life, lean into a 48-hour fast. This will help you reset and get more joy out of everyday life. 48 hours is where the magic happens, where you start to reset these dopamine receptors. You get reduced anxiety and depression, and anti-aging, antioxidant production, and HGH, human growth hormone, increases by 500%. So 48-hour fast is something you can throw into your bag of tricks. Maybe every other month you throw it in, there's wonderful results and testimonies with throwing that in there and making that part of your self-care routine. Immune set refast, 72 hours, so 3 days. So this sounds like a lot, and it is. And in my coaching world, I definitely, some people I've coached with and worked with for 6 months one-on-one. And finally, one person in particular stepped into her 24-hour fast towards our 6th month together. And after she did it, she's like, oh gosh, it wasn't so bad. I think it's, often it's more of a mental game. But it's a very active person that's, playing tennis 3 times a week. And we get kind of conditioned to think that we need fuel all the time. And the truth of the matter is our ancestors survived for longer periods of time between kills and food wasn't readily available. So our bodies are designed to go without food. So a 72-hour fast is called the immune system reboot. This is something you can do twice a year. As women, as maintenance, if you're working on specific things, you might want to do it, seasonally. But this is where peak autophagy is happening. So if you're dealing with chronic conditions or even acute things like, a diagnosis of cancer or something, you might want to lean into something like this. Peak autophagy, your body's cleaning up cells that aren't working. Immune system cells are, a resetting and just turning on. Musculoskeletal cell system. I will say, both in the past, I've had a nagging shoulder situation where I had a ski accident, and I just, didn't have my complete range of motion back. I used to be, very hyper flexible, not, very flexible with my shoulder range of motion, and I've got it back. And I leaned into these longer fasts for the body's innate intelligence to heal it. There's Dr. Mindy, who created this fasting timeline benefits. She always shares this story where, she would go to all the specialists and get PRP injections and try to fix her nagging Achilles heel injury. And one time she was in her 72-hour fast and she started feeling tingling down by her ankle. And she's like, oh, what's that? And it was the stem cells going to repair her Achilles injury. So she leaned into she went further into a 5-day fast, and her Achilles heel injury has never returned. So the body healed it. A lot of the times women who have been pregnant and given childbirth, pregnancy, and through, it's a lot of trauma and scar tissue that creates around that pelvic bowl. And so many times I've had women say to me, Trish, I feel great but all of a sudden it's kind of painful to walk upstairs, and they're feeling it in their hips. And I'm like, have you been pregnant before? And have you, given birth? And they're like, yeah. And I said, well, this is your stem cells going in to repair that scar tissue. So it's pretty amazing the things that you can discover about yourself and what your body is capable of in these longer fasts. I will say that it's recommended to wear a continuous glucose monitor if you're doing anything longer than like a 36-hour fast, just to monitor your ketones and blood sugar. There's healthy ranges for that. And there are such thing as fasted snacks. So fasted snacks will dim autophagy, that self-eating, cellular repair, but you'll still get the benefits of some of these milestones in these longer fasts if that's your goal. So if it takes you, you're eating maybe a half an avocado throughout the day, maybe you're having a few tablespoons of sauerkraut, maybe you're having a handful of olives as a fasted snack throughout the day. And that's okay. And these are, fast training wheels, I like to say, to get you into being more metabolically fit and flexible and being able to move through a true water fast. So like I said, there's no such thing as a failed fast. It's always an opportunity to learn about your body where you need extra support. And the art of breaking a fast and preparing for a fast is something that we should talk about. So it's always good to have a healthy, balanced meal as your last meal. So like good, lean, clean protein, grass-fed, grass-finished if possible, organic, healthy fats on that plate. So avocado, quality olive oil to finish your foods off with. And then having, nature's carbs. So I'd like to say complex nature's carbs are good for you. They're not your enemy. And then when you break your fast, especially anything longer than like a 24, 36-hour fast, there's an art to it. And depending on what your goals are, say you want to continue to build on fat burning or repair the gut or boost immune system or like dopamine reset, there's certain things you could do to break your fast with that's going to continue to gain momentum on what you've been working on during your fasted state. So that's the invitation. I will be launching a 30-day reset and inviting you all to create your own 30-day reset that's mapped to your unique hormone profile. And then we'll look at the art of feasting and fasting and the styles of eating that you ebb and flow through with that 30-day reset. And for women that aren't cycling with a period anymore, you can either sync it with the moon cycle or you can sync your 30-day reset with just a simple 4-2-1 rule, which is like 4 days a week, you do X amount of hours fasting depending on your goals. So I'm not going to tell you what those are. You're going to pull something from this fasted benefits timeline. And then um, and then 2 days a week, you do a certain longer fast, like you push your body, and it doesn't have to be consecutive. The cool thing about fasting is that it's all about its flexible framework, and you map it around your social commitments and your work commitments. Um, so it's such a nice tool to like, it's, no excuses really. You can plug it into your lifestyle to meet your lifestyle, and it becomes a lifestyle. So these aren't one and done things. And that's why I've got my Elevate Vitality, the Balance, Optimize, Thrive community where we're going to be doing this together because we learn from each other. We show up better for each other. We tend to anyway. And we get inspired by each other and we find support within each other. Like some people might say, oh, I felt this. Another person might be like, oh, I kind of did too. And I didn't know how to articulate that. Or, there's just a lot of growth and transformation that happens in a group setting. So this will be something that we do online together and come together with weekly Q&As, bring your questions. And if you want to get, nuanced advice on how to tackle a certain symptom, I always say your symptoms are gifts. They're not something to be squished or silenced with medication. They're something to be understood and worked with. We've often been told it's our age, it's our hormones, it's our genes. But here are the 3 myth busts on that. Your age, it's usually because we all have different sized toxic buckets, and a lifetime of toxicity can build up in our cells and in our systems and cause stagnation. So it's not really your age, it's your toxic bucket. So this is what we're talking about is limiting the toxic load on your system. And so you can often feel a lot younger than you are on your calendar age when you start working with your body like this. It's not your hormones. Hormones are not the leaders. Hormones are followers. Hormones are a symptom of imbalance. So when something else, they're not the root cause, in other words. Something else is going on to throw your hormones out of whack. It could be a gut microbiome imbalance. It could be chronic low-grade inflammation. It could be leaky gut. And it's not just one thing, it's a symphony of things. And it's not to overwhelm you. But once you start restoring the foundation level, everything else falls into place. I was listening to a podcast between Dr. Naisha Winters and Mindy Pels, and it was so cool because she's like, Dr. Winters has seen thousands of patients, and women come into her for HRT, right? Human replacement therapy. And when she works with them, she works at the foundation level first to restore age-appropriate hormone function and function at the cellular level and the genetic level. And then in 2 or 3 months, their symptoms have gone away. They don't need HRT. Not one person has she ever put on HRT. And she's seen thousands of patients. Isn't that encouraging? And not to say there's something wrong with HRT. Sometimes you might need it to get through to get through the rapids and like swim to the side of the banks and like get out of get out of underneath being pummeled underneath the waterfall. Like it's a nice crutch. But if you're not changing your lifestyle, it's just making something look good on paper, what's circulating in your blood. It's not necessarily an indication of what's getting used by your body, what's getting metabolized by your cells and glands, and what's being excreted. So we have to be very mindful of jumping into HRT without a lifestyle shift. So it's not a hall pass to just continue a status quo and continue to do the things that got you into the imbalance in the first place. Does that make sense? Okay. I've been talking a lot. Does anyone have any questions?
I was wondering how often you fast.
Okay, so pretty
I know
much.
it's different for everybody, but just I was curious about you.
Yeah. So I always kind of lean into my body and figure out like, what do I need? I check in with my body once in a while. I'm like, am I feeling a little blah in mood? Am I, getting a little fatigued after eating? Am I showing signs of bloating? Do I need a 24-hour gut reset, or is it time for a 48-hour? I use it as a self-diagnostic tool for my checking in with my body and then pulling it out of my toolkit. It's part of my toolkit for self-care. Most days, so there was a study about breast cancer, and I don't have it running in my family, but even if you did or didn't, I think everyone should be, especially in today's toxic soup that we live in, and with so many things in our body that act as hormone disruptors and endocrine disruptors and plastics and mimic like estrogen related stuff in our body, I think it's really important to limit and be aware of how we can metabolize and release some of these toxicities, right? So I will try to do at least a 13 to 15-hour fast every day.
Yeah.
Um, so there was an interesting study. I'm not going to remember the numbers verbatim, but it was several thousand women over like a 20-year period that had had breast cancer, and they all went through conventional treatment. And the women that did a 13 to 15 hour, no, it was just a minimum of 13-hour fast every day, which is totally easy if you think about it. If you have your dinner and then you don't take anything in that's going to break your fast until you break your fast breakfast the next day, 13 hours is a no-brainer. It's easy. Oh my gosh, I wish I could remember the stat, but it was like a 34 or no, 64% reduction in breast cancer reoccurrence. It was mind-blowing. And why every doctor that if you're a lady doctor or a doctor that works with cancer, you should be telling every single person this and go and share that with your friends because it's a no-brainer. It doesn't cost money. It doesn't take up time. In fact, it saves time and money because you're not eating and making food. So lean into that. To answer your question, I think I've done two 72-hour. My last 72-hour fast was well, I did one in January, and then I did so collectively, Dr. Mindy does one twice a year, and it's really fun because there's thousands of people all over the world doing it together, which is so fun. Um, and my husband did it for the first time. He goes, I'm going to do 24 hours with you guys. And then 24 hours turned to 48 hours. 48 hours turned into 63 hours. So he played golf 2 days in a row. You're not on your couch dying with a fast. When you're doing it properly in a supported way, you are thriving. So he was great. And he left me the sweetest voicemail and I accidentally erased it. I'm really bummed about it. But he, called me and he's like, yeah, I just finished golf. I'm going with the guys to have lunch. He's like, but I really don't I'm not that hungry. I feel pretty good. This fasting thing's not that hard. But after his first 24 hours, he's like, oh, I'm eating tomorrow. That was rough. But you go through these, moments, and there's certain things like healthy state changes that you can do besides food. Eating food is such a state changer, right? We do it when we celebrate, we do it when we're sad, we emotionally eat. But how many times do we eat actually because we're hungry? You know, So there's healthy state changers that you could do to change your state of being while you're in a fasted state. If you just to squeeze out one more hour, just push it out one more hour. And you could dance to your favorite song. You can call a friend. You can put on a funny YouTube, make you laugh. Like go out for a brisk walk for 20 minutes. There's a lot of cool state changers you could do to push yourself into that next fasted state. And what I will say when to know to break a fast is if you literally can't even raise your arm, you're so fatigued, or if you're really feeling dizzy and you feel like you're going to pass out. I know Ashley mentioned this the other day when she was doing a fast mimicking diet. She put a little salt under her tongue. If you can find a quality salt to put under your tongue, that's an amazing way. And I will say, for those of us that suffer with headaches or migraines or dizziness, salt is your friend, and throw away your white table salt. That's rubbish. But get your hands on something like Baja Gold. That's something great to cook with, and Celtic sea salt, and rotate through the different ones. When you run out of one, get the other one. And your Beam minerals. I mean, if you're going to invest in please stop buying like one magnesium or one. I have people that are like, oh, I have this magnesium before sleep and this magnesium when I work out. Get a full spectrum mineral in your body, and your body will know what kind of where it needs to go. So you need the cofactors. So how often do I fast? So 72-hour fast. I led a group of people a couple of months ago, 2 months ago maybe, doing a 72-hour fast. And I'm like, I'm just going to do a 36-hour fast. I wanted to kind of kickstart my metabolism. And the funny thing about that is that I was like feeling really good at 36 hours, so I kept going. And then it turns out this was like August 28th. I was 72 hours into the fast, and I went to this meeting Anyway, and I was fine. I was like, oh, I might break it tonight. And I was looking at the food and I'm like, I'm just not that hungry. And it wasn't food that I cooked and I didn't really know what was in it. And after doing that, I didn't want to put that in my body. So then I woke up the next day and I'm like, gosh, I feel really good. I have never gone longer than a 72-hour fast. Mostly because by the time I get up to 72 hours, I've got plans with friends, and when I can find 72 hours not to fast, like I do it around my social schedule. So then I was like, I feel still pretty good. I'm going to keep going. So I just kept checking in with my body. And I felt really good that I made it to like 92 hours. And I was doing full disclosure, I was doing some fasted snacks. Um, and in the beginning, I was wrapping up the first 3 days on a flow cleanse from Zen Cleanse. And these are technically fermented enzymes that are packed with a ton of nutrients. So I was getting a lot of nutrients in my body. So I wasn't completely in a water fast. But the last couple of days, I was mostly just in a water fast with a few fasted snacks here and there. Um, and when I broke that fast, we were with friends at their house having dinner, and I felt great. So I, you just have to kind of check in with your body and know why you're doing a fast. The why part is really good, huge. It's not just because you want to lose the extra pounds. It's like, what will you feel when you get to your ideal weight? How will your clothes fit? How will your confidence radiate? You know, will you initiate intimacy with your partner more? Like, these kind of things. Like, what does losing that weight mean for you? And what does, you know, resetting your gut microbiome? Oh, why do I want to do a gut reset fast? Well, maybe I want to kick sugar cravings or maybe carb cravings, like for the bread or stuff that doesn't really serve me. Am I doing a dopamine reset fast because I want to be sharper in my memory and I want less brain fog and I want to be quicker on my feet and I want to see solutions easier. You can really go through this as much as this is a physical reset. It's an emotional, it's a spiritual, it's a self connection reset. And when we feel more connected to ourselves, we can connect to others better as well because we're better communicators. Um, in the absence of food, a lot of clarity comes. So whether it's you're making shifts in your friendships or setting healthy boundaries or trying to figure out what really excites you and ignites you, the fast is a beautiful way to kind of get quiet and go within and find out um, where you want to grow and expand and where you want to release and shed. So today, how are we doing on time? I can't see the clock. Okay, that's a little more than 15 minutes. We all have our metabolic flexibility. Did everyone get a chance to get their scores?
Yeah.
Cool. Who would like to go first and share? Maybe you don't have to share your score if you don't want to, but if you want to say, oh, the questions made me think about this or that, or what came up for you when you were going through this emotionally, mentally, or physically, or anyone?
Uh, I I got a 28. And most of what put me my highest scores though were because of like my age and I'm postmenopausal. Like those were the ones that kind of I felt like killed it for me.
Okay.
Um,
And
other than
do you mind?
that,
Oh, you mean just because of your age, if you're over four? Yeah. So you're giving yourself 4 points if you're over 40. Okay. And you're
yeah, and
Plaza.
I'm postmenopausal.
Okay. I see.
Um, yeah, so yeah, but and yeah, I do struggle with losing weight. And I feel like I pretty much, I'm one of those people that says I'm doing everything and it doesn't happen. I actually just recently lost weight because I was moving and I was like trying to do everything myself and I was just super crazy busy and I was like I think I was like lifting weights pretty much every day, all day because I was doing all this moving. And so I did lose some weight. And so I'm trying to keep it off.
Yeah. Great.
But yeah, I don't know.
So our metabolism slows down as we age naturally. So fasting is a great tool to kind of ignite that metabolism and start getting it going again. And then our toxic load has a bearing on this. So age, a lifetime of accumulation. So that's just a natural thing. And so fasting can help limit that accumulation. The a 1 day gut cleanse with Zen Cleanse releases a lot of this. It's called mucoid plaque. So I think I've talked about like the GI system. It looks like shag carpet and these are the villi in your intestines. And basically the food and nutrients is supposed to like kind of move as it's moving through the GI system, it kind of goes through. And these little guys are responsible for taking out your nutrients from your food and getting it into the bloodstream, basically. And so a lifetime, as we age, these things get matted down. It's like we've never, shampooed the carpet. And so when we do like a 1 day gut cleanse with Zen Cleanse, it removes this plaque out of the body. You eliminate it through going to the bathroom, and you'll see it. It's like a shiny, ropey thing. And you can even see it have like the marks of the sides of your intestines. It's kind of funny. I mean, it's wild. And it could be pounds and pounds of it. And that's blocking your nutrient absorption and causing some inflammation. And it's also gumming up where it's creating an environment where parasites and opportunistic pathogens and viruses and bacteria can hide out and kind of thrive and cause like have little parties in there, right? So we need to be able to be proactive once in a while and cleanse that out. And fasting can help with it, but really you need a little bit more support. And these enzymes from the Zen Cleanse are like little Pac-Man that go through and munch it all up and kind of push it along, which is pretty incredible what you can do with a 1 day reset. And then I will say the 1 day, it's a great thing. We can do it over a 3 day period where you do the 1 day gut cleanse, which we will do in our 30 day reset. Then you have a 24-hour fast in between, water fast. And through that day, you're going to eliminate so much and get so much out of it. And then on the third day, you'll do the 1 day liver cleanse, and that addresses your gallbladder as well. And like I said, your gallbladder and your liver are buddies. They live next to each other. And the gallbladder stores the bile that the liver produces, and the bile is responsible for optimizing the pH of your GI tract so that it creates an environment where, again, opportunistic bugs can't thrive. And then also we need the bile to help us emulsify fats, so digestion better, and then also absorb our fat-soluble vitamins. So bile is really important. And over a lifetime, as we age, the bile ducts, think of them as little river streams, get clogged up with fatty liver, with fatty cholesterol deposits, and with stones, gallstones. A lot of us have, you've heard of somebody with a gallbladder problem. Some people get their gallbladders removed because, they get so gummed up and they can get septic, so they have to take them out, unfortunately. Okay, well, the replay will be available for those who can't stay the whole time. So thank you for showing up. And so the 1 day liver gallbladder cleanse is amazing because you release so many fatty liver deposits and your body's just functioning better. So this whole reset, when you build it upon your fasting lifestyle, it's unbelievable how you can avoid disease, feel younger than you have in a long time, and have more energy, and then your weight loss efforts have a better impact because your liver's functioning better. It doesn't have to store stuff in those fat storage units, and it can cycle things through every day and kind of keep up with the toxic load that we're exposed to every day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trish, I have a question. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Are there certain people where you don't recommend this? So for example, my metabolic questionnaire, I was at a 20, and it's kind of like when I got the MRI and the CT, right? You don't want the bad news, but also you want to know what the hell is happening, like what the problem is. And so, right, technically on the questionnaire, it says that I'm healthy, but I'm not, right? And
Yeah.
so I struggle with gaining weight mostly because I am nauseated, and like I'll take a Zofran so that I don't feel sick, just so I can eat sometimes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
With the migraines. And so I don't know, because if I look at your thing, I will sign up for a 72-hour fast. Like I'm the jump in with both feet type of person, which isn't always good. But I don't necessarily need to lose weight.
Right.
I just need all the other benefits.
Yeah.
So I don't know, where
to start.
What you recommend.
Can you walk me through a typical day, like what you eat And how are you nourishing your body? Do you take supplements? Like, what are you putting in your body?
I take magnesium, B6, B12 complex, and vitamin D every day. That was my other question is if you're fasting, do you stop medications?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I take Nurtec and Maxalt when I can't function and it's awful.
Yeah.
And I take, I guess technically it's an antidepressant that's prescribed for chronic pain, called Elavil. Sorry, it's probably more than you need to. I
Well,
forget this is recorded.
yeah,
I
here's
don't like
the
medical
rules.
history, but like it's out there as to help with chronic pain and to help you eat, like to increase appetite. So it's a lot.
Yeah. So I'm not a doctor and I'm not your physician, so I don't know your history.
Yeah.
Always work with your doctor before doing anything. Um, General rule of thumb stuff that Dr. Mindy shares is if you're on life-saving medication, don't stop taking it.
Yeah.
Um, as far as supplements go, when you're fasting, if your goal is for autophagy and cleaning up, um, then you would stop your supplements because there's something called nutrient sensing. And that means if the body's sensing nutrients coming in, even though it's not food, it might not clean up as much. Like it might just kind of be a little lazy because it's like, oh, I've got some nutrients over here. But when the body is, truly in a fasted state without nutrient sensing, then the body will be like, oh, I'm cleaning house because I'm recycling all these old proteins and I'm up leveling at the cellular level.
Mhm.
What I will say is, have you ever looked at your genetics? Have you ever done any sort of genetics test?
I have not done any genetics testing. I've done, like I said, some toxicity and regular blood work. I've done the holistic stuff, right? From acupuncture to
Yeah. So
all of that.
do you know if so you're taking B vitamins that might not be doing anything for you because 70% of the population has an MTHFR gene variant, and you're not, and at least one or more, and that means you cannot process B vitamins unless they're methylated.
Mm.
But then if you don't have the mutation, so many people are just taking methylated vitamins and they're over methylating. So
Mm.
unless you know your genetics, um, you might just be kind of throwing darts at the wall and not hitting your target because you don't understand what your target is.
Right.
So the genius of understanding actionable genes. So I say it's not your age, it's not your hormones, because hormones are followers, not leaders, and your age is just a reflection of your toxic bucket being too full. So,
Mhm.
and when I say it's not your genes, it's because your genes aren't fixed. 90% of how well you feel, think, live, and age has nothing to do with your parents, what they gave you. It's your lifestyle choices and your toxic bucket, what's your threshold, what's your toxic burden, and understanding your metabolic flexibility, and then mitochondria health. Mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cells. Um, so with all those pieces in mind, these are low-hanging fruit free questionnaires that you can do to kind of get an idea of what's going on. You have a very low metabolic flexibility score, but your body's telling you something's going on because you're chronically having, you're suffering. So my biggest two I think autophagy fast would be really good for you. I think minerals, I think get your hands on some bean minerals as soon as possible. Taking a half dose in the morning and a half dose at night. So there's electrolytes and microboost of both. You take it in a large glass of water. Sip on that for like 10 minutes. You don't chug it down. And then I would work on optimizing your gut microbiome. If you like fermented foods, I always say the three Ps: polyphenols, probiotics, and excuse me, prebiotics, and get whole food sources. So even if you're not hungry, this for the nausea that could help because the more
Mhm.
diverse your microbiome is, the more resilient you are. It's your immune system.
Mhm.
It's helping you with your moods. Like it can help with serotonin and dopamine and immune response. I would say supporting the gut integrity is really important. So when you do put stuff in your body, if you are on medications, often medications can exacerbate leaky gut and gut dysbiosis, which is an imbalance in the microbiome. So there's something called ION, Intelligence of Nature. It's by Zach Bush. It's clear liquid. It doesn't have any flavor. And what it does is it repairs the cell integrity of the GI system. So it helps that fortification so you're not getting hit by chronic low-grade inflammation all the time. And it improves cellular communication and gut microbiome communication. And you only need a little bit. So a little swishing it in the mouth, like a squirt of it in the mouth and swallowing it, and especially before you eat, especially if you are eating out. But like 3 times a day. And the other thing I suggest is to you know, there's something called Zen Cleanse. It's a whole food-based support, and they have liquid enzymes. They look like wine bottles, and you would take like a shot glass worth with warm water, and that's really highly packed with nutrients and minerals. And I'm all about optimizing the terrain versus so meaning you're optimizing function at the cellular level. Your body doesn't have to work to break these down. They're highly bioavailable because they're fermented. You don't have to digest them, and they can support a fasted state. So I'll have a FAQ. I'm going to post that in our Harmonium group, and Mel can share that with you. And you can look at the products and you can be like, this resonates with me. This is something that I might lean into.
Great.
And you can get free shipping. They're not inexpensive, but over $550 gives you free shipping. They're heavy. They're fermented for 3 years. They're highly bioavailable. And then you can use my code ELEVATE for a decent discount. But stepping into with fasting, I think 72-hour fast and seeing how your body goes with that. And then I think the nutrients that you're getting with the Zen Cleanse will help you stay sort of nourished while you're doing that. Also, perfect aminos. They keep you in a fasted state, but they also give you the essential amino acid profile that you need to support muscles and repair. And I was going to say, honestly, looking at your genetics would be really empowering. And there's a simple test. I know I shared a special offer that I can extend to you. It's a cheek swab test, but it looks at 103 actionable genes. And then it gives you 10 individual reports in different areas from your brain health, from your gut, from your inflammation standpoint. There's 10 different areas. But that will give you the blueprint on how you can really kick this. And I really have to, and on top of that, it formulates your custom whole food-based formula in the right dosage and in the right format that your body needs. It includes adaptogens. So I would be very shocked if you leaned into that, and it takes 4 months for your red blood cells to cycle through and regenerate. I'd say giving something 4 months and seeing and reassessing and watching your symptoms and seeing how you feel, I think it could be very interesting. And the Beam Minerals, if you do nothing else, get your hands on some Beam Minerals.
Okay.
And you can use code MANGOLD at beamminerals.com for a discount on that. It's just minerals. Most of our stuff is a deficiency, whether it's vitamins or essential minerals. That's where a lot of the chronic disease comes on. Dr. Mark Hyman, that podcast I was referring to yesterday, that's what he says he sees. And people are going out there doing all these crazy biohacking and all these things, and they're taking, way too many supplements, burdening the liver, and they don't even know if that's made for them, for their specific genetic weaknesses in the right format or dosage. So you're kind of just throwing money down the drain if you're not doing it in a targeted way. And luckily, we can figure out how to do things in a targeted way. It's never been more accessible and so than it is today. So it's kind of a nice way to kind of take our hands in our health in our own hands. I know. And the cool thing is you don't need a doctor's appointment. Sometimes just to see a specialist, it's $300 or $400, right? So if you can spend, a little bit of money on a one and done cheek swab and then get your custom formula, I think it could really move the needle for you.
So that SNP cheek swab test, it will give you all of that information of all her genetics information.
Yeah, it gives you 10 individual reports at 103 actionable genes, meaning genes that you can do something with whole food nutrition. And then it custom formulates your one supplement, single one, all-in-one formula. Yeah, it has minerals in it. It has vitamins, but I still supplement minerals because I feel like my active lifestyle and sweating, I think everyone needs to supplement minerals. And the only thing I would say is like this the custom code formula that bridges the gaps in your unique genetic weaknesses. I take that. I take my minerals. I'll do the ion, the intelligence of nature for my microbiome, and then I just started taking it's called Fatty 15, and it's kind of like everyone was on the fish oil bandwagon, but I think Fatty 15 is even better. So it's an omega. It's like the future of omega 3s, and it's
And,
one.
and you said there's something with amino acids too?
Yeah, the perfect aminos. And I don't always take those. If I mean, I get a pretty good decent diet in, but I mean, if I'm doing more extended fasting, sometimes maybe I will take it, but it depends on what your goals are. Um, but it does a perfect aminos, and I can send a link to a full script account, and I'll offer you the biggest discount I can on it for those things for Ion as well as on um, on the perfect aminos. So if you're interested in getting those. So you can find them on Amazon, but I think I can give you like 20% off or 25% off on Fullscript, whatever the deepest discount is they allow. I can extend that to you, my people.
Thank you.
Sure. Um, but yeah, it's empowering to when you start. I've explained this before. I don't know if I said it today, but when you don't know what your genetic weaknesses are, it's like going 60 miles an hour on the freeway in second gear. Like everything's kind of revving high, you're taxing your system, you're getting from A to B, but it's just taking a lot of energy and inefficiency, right?
Mhm.
But when you understand how to support your body at the foundational level, at the genetic level, and you're opening your detox pathways and you're hydrating properly and you're getting some decent sleep, because when you start feeling better, you can sleep better. Then you're cruising down the freeway, getting from A to B in fifth gear, and everything's running more efficiently. And if, someone comes at you and you need to swerve, you're better reactionary times, right? So you're navigating through life in a bigger bandwidth for surprises and curveballs. So does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay. So I just, if you did you have a chance to take the neurotoxic questionnaire?
I did. I took all three of them. Let's see. No, that's the metabolic, neurotoxic. Here it is. Oh, I don't think I added it up. What is this word?
The neurotoxic was the other one that looked the same.
Yeah, I didn't add them up. Hold on. Hmm. Oh, 3, 4, 5, 53. 64, does that sound right?
Yeah. So 0 to 25 is a low load. 26 to 50 is moderate. So the suggestion is to lean into some 17-hour fasts. And anything over 51 is a high toxic load. And so we really need to focus on opening your detox pathways. So sleeping with a castor oil pack at night, organic castor oil in a glass bottle, and finding a wrap that has no plastics or dyes in it. I do trust Queen of Thrones. They're one that's I know that they third-party test every batch, and that's the one I use. So a castor oil pack is very simple, and it helps with elimination in the morning, and it helps with it's penetrating to the liver and gallbladder to help support, in uh, detoxing the liver and gallbladder. Um, and it's also
Bought that
soothing to the
yesterday,
nervous system.
Goalie.
You what?
I just bought that yesterday, the
Oh, you
castor
did?
oil.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna start trying to do that because that seems like an super easy thing to do.
Yes. Yes.
And you do it when you sleep at night and you don't even think about it. And it's actually 50% of the benefit they say comes from nervous system regulation. It helps you into that rest, repair, digest mode. So it's going to help you have better sleep, better absorption of nutrients. And why not do something while you're sleeping? It's easy.
Yes.
You'll have better elimination. I mean, I know this call is recorded, but if you feel like sharing anything like that with me, you can. Like, how's your elimination? How's your sleep? But these are the things I go over in my one-on-one calls with people too.
And
Um,
the sleep, yeah, the sleep is terrible. I started doing salt packets in the morning, and then I do for elimination. I have the coffee also helps sometimes with the headache. It doesn't help with the shakiness, but it helps with the headache.
the caffeine helps with the
And
headache.
I put like a spoonful of ghee in it just to
Oh,
have something.
mhm.
And then I don't eat for, then I have to force myself to eat something at lunchtime. And I'm sticking to whole foods and pretty much gluten-free stuff to not, I don't know, to cut down inflammation.
Yeah.
Um, and then, yeah, I try to make whole food, something with, fish, vegetable. I love fermented, like I'll have kefir.
Good.
Yogurt always tastes good to me.
Okay.
Um, so I have a lot of that. And then I'll have like a soft boiled egg just to force myself to get some protein. But
Okay.
it's very little.
Um, Minerals are good. So I would get, do you like seaweeds? Like,
Yeah.
do you tolerate seaweed?
I can snack on those dry seaweed packets.
Okay, good. So I shared with the group yesterday. I use those like a nori sheet that you get that they wrap a sushi roll up with a soft boiled egg. So keep the yolks runny because you want the runny yolks because if you can tolerate that, that's
Yeah.
you want the enzymes in there and the healthy fats. You don't want to cook those too much. And
Okay.
then so I roll a soft boiled egg into the nori and I put in a bitter green because like arugula is a great bitter green to support my liver. And then
Mm.
I'll put in hemp seeds or hemp hearts, organic hemp hearts you can find, and 3 tablespoons. There's 10 grams of protein, so they're powerhouse. And then it's more omega-3s than a serving of salmon.
Mm-hmm.
So you need the healthy fats. And then what else do I put in there? Oh, sauerkraut. So I've been putting in, there's 2 types of sauerkraut that I kind of alternate between. It's not sauerkraut, it's called kraut, but I think it's called Healthy Planet. Um, anyway, I put a little, like a tablespoon or something, whatever on that little roll and I roll it up and that's what I had for breakfast this morning. So,
Okay.
and ghee is fantastic. I'm glad you're doing ghee. Um, yeah, if you can get bitter greens in, it helps with the liver. Um, The castor oil pack is going to be great. Tongue scraping is great. We talked about that yesterday. If you've heard of that, it's an Ayurvedic tongue scraper, usually copper, if you can find that on Amazon for a couple of bucks. That helps first thing in the morning, like stimulates the digestion. And just note to yourself, like you are relying on caffeine to go to the bathroom, right? So
Yeah.
your digestive system is blocked. So you need to support that. So if you can eat like a date or rich in 32 trace minerals
He
and
loves dates.
good fiber. Good.
The deer love taste.
Date with a healthy fat. Find it like be like a tablespoon of almond butter with no bad seed oils in it and no sugar. Um, and put a date there. It's like the perfect little dessert. It's delicious or snack or whatever you can to get food in. Um,
Okay.
Healthy fats with things that are high in sugar are a great pairing because it's going to curb that blood sugar spike. So like if you like a banana, enjoy a banana, but have it with some nut butter.
Mhm.
Or some whole nuts, like 2 or 3 Brazil nuts. Brazil nuts are great for the thyroid. I mentioned kombu, Kombu. This is a seaweed you can get at the store or on Amazon. If you cut an inch of that off, I would love for you to do a bone broth fast if you can do it. Um, I know this sounds crazy, but you can go to the store. Sometimes Whole Foods has it, chicken feet, and you put it in a pressure cooker or like a slow cooker and you put in some filtered water, put in some kombu, put in, like the celery, carrots, onions, and any sort of herbs that you like parsley or cilantro, and even eggshells if you want to save your eggshells because they're rich in calcium, you can put them in there.
Mm.
Put this on a low setting for like 24 hours. It's going to get all that rich collagen out of the chicken feet, and this is going to be so soothing and healing and nutrient dense. So you can freeze some of it and you can put it in individual servings in glass jars. If you do freeze it, just make sure you leave like an inch from the top of the jar because when it expands, you don't want it to break in the freezer. But it's good for the fridge for a few days, and you can just sip on that throughout the day. Do a 24-hour bone broth reset.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
What I like is I've gone to holistic doctors and it's like you said, they want a series of tests. It's like an allergy test and a this and that. And then you pay, they sell these programs, right, that include acupuncture and chiropractic and whatever it is. Um, it just didn't resonate with me because I had tried some and I don't. What's really fascinating about your program is the focus on the body healing itself.
Yeah.
It's this has been a 10-month journey for me. So, like Monday, it gets dark. Like Monday was I'm giving up kind of a day, right?
Mm.
And so, yeah,
Mhm.
but to know that it's like, okay, 4 months, just
Yeah,
try this.
absolutely.
At this
It'll,
point, I'm trying all things.
well, yeah, and now you found your community that you can connect with and your
Yeah.
extended community beyond, we're here for you. So you're welcome to jump in when you can and know that your body can heal. Um, I know this is recorded again, and I'm happy to have a private call with you, but I often ask also, was there some sort of emotional trauma or something that triggered this? And then also I say that our toxic bucket is also emotional. So
Yeah.
it can cause stagnation in our tissues. And so we just need to be aware. And I'm reading a book right now called Emotion Code. And I don't know if you've heard of him, but he did an interview recently with Dr. I think his name is Brad Nelson, and Emotion Code. And you can ask your body, you can muscle test your body, and you can ask your body, do I have a stuck emotion? And you can clear those. Through the book, he teaches you how to clear these things. And people with chronic issues have, you know, some people have a really rapid response and could clear them and they never come back. So,
Right.
yeah, it's amazing. So, in our 30-day reset, we're going to have weekly calls and I'm going to help you build your 7-day protocol 1 week at a time over 4 calls over the month. And, there's going to be a lot of tools that you can bring in, and then you pull out what resonates with you. And every month will build on itself, like it'll continue to evolve with you. So you have a roadmap to be, I always say it's like getting a master's degree in your own health and
Mhm.
unlocking your own innate wisdom. But when we do nourish with the minerals and with our custom formulas, we can really see rapid results because we're supported at that foundational level. Like you don't know what your genetics are. It's a very empowering situation. Like a lot of people think, oh, I don't want to know. Like you said with the testing, you don't want to know because it's scary. You don't know what it's going to say. But the cool thing is that we're looking at actionable genes. I can't change your eye color or your height or your widow's peak, but we can nourish your nutritional deficiencies so that foundationally your detox pathways are operating better and your methylation pathways are operating better. My guess is that you probably have a methylation issue, and that's okay. It's good to know, but then you're given the tools and exactly what to do about it.
Right.
So each of the 10 custom reports tells you exactly like lifestyle tips as well. So it's
Great.
really cool to be empowered with that kind of information.
Absolutely. If you can do the lifestyle, the genetics, and the diet and bring it all together,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
drama.
So it's very hopeful and encouraging because it's not a one size fits all situation. We're all coming from different. And then when you're feeling better and you're optimized at that, 4 months down the road, when you're feeling really good, then you can go and maybe think, oh, maybe acupuncture is something that can take me to the next level. Because I always say, like, people are like, well, should I get this or that or this or that? And I'm like, well, let's get you working at the foundation level first,
Mhm.
so that if you do want to bring these other things into the mix, then your body's better able to respond. I will say acupuncture is helpful. I shouldn't have used that as a quote, as a specific thing, but it's more like these biohacking things that people talk about. Like they're like, should I, go and get this? I don't know.
The oxygen therapy.
Yeah. And that can helpful too. I guess I'm not really giving good examples right now, but it's more in the supplement world, I think. When people say to me, "Oh, should I get on NAD or should I get on what about this or that?" And I'm like, let's nourish you foundationally and then see where your body's at and then maybe reassess if that makes sense.
Right. Yes. It's
Yeah.
hard because sometimes the doctors, the Western medicine will say, you don't need iodine. But then I go somewhere else and they're like, no, everybody needs iodine. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to overdo it. And so you just get overwhelmed.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect example. In fact, that came up 2 days ago. Someone said, should I be on iodine? Was that
Yeah.
Ashley that brought that up? Yeah. And I said, instead of supplementing specifically with iodine, I would eat your seaweeds. So seaweed has enough iodine in it and your body will take what it needs. You need the cofactors. Again, comes back to cofactors. And if you can find it in whole food sources, there's an example. People are like, what probiotic should I take? I'm like, don't. Get it in your whole foods. Get your variety of fermented foods. And when you said you like yogurt and kefir, that's great, but try to go for the plain ones and add your own
Yeah.
fruits in it because, you don't need the extra sugar for no reason.
No, yeah, the sugars make the headaches
Yeah.
worse.
Okay, good. Good. And yeah, I think there was something else in there, but it'll come to me. I know we've already gone over our hour and I want to be respectful of everyone's time, but I'm really glad we connected.
Likewise, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Trish.
Yeah, and I don't know where you live, Goalie, but if you are interested, I will be in Newport Thursday and I can bring a test up with me. Because
Okay. Yeah, that would help. Thank you.
okay.
I'm in East Side Costa Mesa.
Okay, great. So maybe Mel can do a text and introduce us, and that way we can communicate and set a place.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All
All
right.
right. Is there any other questions? Oh, that's what I was going to say. So we have the mitochondria questionnaire. And what we will do with that, because I have a meeting in Newport tomorrow, I can't do the same time tomorrow, but I will do Friday. Does that sound good?
Sure.
11:30 Friday?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, enjoy your day, and I look forward to connecting with you Friday and maybe Thursday if that works out.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Trish. Thanks, Mel.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.